Go to scene. All right, we're live. So, I've been keeping an eye out for this. I think we should code this algorithm. I think this is gonna work out really well, especially in this time of year and majority of the year, half the year. You could run it. So, this was another long that I took into a playbook that I said it was gonna happen before, and it didn't ended up happening. So, sorry, let me move this. So you have your point of control. You have right here is the value area high, there and there, for the first 15 minutes. Remember I was telling you guys about the break in one direction, retest, and then go higher. And what did we do? We broke in the 15-minute box that we drew for the open, and then we broke in the 15-minute box. Then we went up, so we broke it, and we came down. We retested either value high or the point of control, one of the two. We wait for our first green candle, either absorption or aggressive buying, and you could have gone long even here if you wanted to. Here or even here would have been a little more risky, but right here would have been a better place. And your stop could go something like this. You can either go long here, stop underneath the recent absorption, and then I had this area marked out, point of control from the night session. I mean, look at that, a 1 to 3. That was great long. But my long I took this morning, trading how I trade, is I marked out this area right here. This is where all the, before the market opened, this is where all the buying was happening, in between these two areas. And what happened here is that we bounce. I waited for the absorption here. This is about, I don't know, almost right before 15 minutes into the market. I waited for that, and then I ended up taking a long right above here. As soon as it broke back above and closed, I placed a long limit order here. This was a big stop, but I had it here. Then I had my stop underneath the aggressive sells. It was almost like 11. It was like $1,000, and then I got out somewhere like right around here at the high. I think it was like right around here, something like that, right in this play. But I could have easily taken this to here, and this would have been at least a 1 and 2.5. And then you could have taken an additional entry here once we broke down and popped back up. So what I did was I just marked out the profile in the morning. Oh, I don't know why I said that, but shifts. But yeah, so I marked out the profile in the morning, and then I marked out the two areas where buying was most aggressive and where selling was. You can see where selling was most aggressive. What did we do? We came here, we tapped here, we sold off. We broke the value area low, retested where there's aggressive sells right in this area to the T. You had absorption. You could have gone short here, targeted here, and then you could have waited for this play right here once we broke back above. So we absorbed, came back above. We showed the closure above where aggressive buying was happening, and we went long, and we caught this move. It could have caught very well up here. If we look at the profile chart, let's just take a little gander here. We definitely are in a shorter time frame in terms of the way market's moving. We had the same value from the 2 days before, but we weren't able to close above the value, and we created a new value down here. We could possibly go up here. I don't think it's going to be today, maybe next week. But yeah. And sorry I didn't go live yesterday. I had stuff I was doing, and I couldn't quite go live. I was kind of bouncing around. I lost anyways. It was not a good day. I should have won. I just was not reading the market right. But let's just look at yesterday. Okay, so this was yesterday, right? We sold off heavily. So if we would have marked out yesterday, let's just start from when kind of London session, just so we can kind of get an idea. Let's go from here. This was right before market opened, so you could have marked out here. This would have been a good area, a good little box. And what could we see was You had the value area low. We tested, tried to balance, and we broke again. And we could have gone short here. This would have been the place to go short. I ended up trying to take a long here, and I got burned. But yeah, this was the area that yesterday was a great short. You can see we tested the value area low, bounce, bounce, try to break above the value area high, failed, and then aggressive buying failed, sellers followed through, aggressive buying again failed, and then once we closed back below here, this was a great short. You could have gone short here. I'm getting really disciplined and better at this now at just making sure I'm following the market correctly, and then you could have taken a short and trailed it all the way down. You probably would have gotten out somewhere right around, I don't know, maybe right around here. You could have held it longer, but yeah, so that was yesterday. But yesterday the 15-minute worked. No, yesterday the 15-minute did not work, the one I was talking about. Or it did. Yeah, sorry, it did. So I'll show you what happened yesterday with the little orb play I'm looking at that you can play off of. So let's mark out the 15-minute candle or 15-minute open. This is open right here, and then we go. That's 15-minute. So what happened here? 15-minute, right? Value high, value low. What do we do? It's kind of messy here, so let me just see if I can. Let's be a little cleaner. What do we do? We broke this, right? After the open? Okay. Candle closure, we broke it. So short bias. What do? We came back and tested the value area low, aggressive buying, absorbed, and we had aggressive selling. We followed through right there with our first red candle. I was looking at this and I should have gone short, but I was already in the hole and I hit my daily loss limit, so I was not going to attempt that. So you could have gone here, right above aggressive selling, or buying, sorry. Again, fairly decent risk, and then you could have targeted or trailed it all the way down. So when this happened and you see the bounce, we could have trailed it above here once we closed back below, and then as soon as it started happening, we could just trail it after each aggressive buying failed. Buying failed again, we closed lower, and you would have probably gone. This would have been a massive trade. Right here, you had buying failed, buying failed, buying again failed, and then you probably would have exited. If you followed the trailing right, you would have exited somewhere right around here, almost about $5,000. Actually, no, you wouldn't have, because this would have been, we would have broken the low again, and then we would have closed below again the low, so I would have put my stop somewhere right around here, my trailing, right here. So you would have gotten about $5,600 yesterday, just off that move. So this thing tends to work very well, and it gives you a better risk to reward than trailing or trading just purely the breakout. Because let's say you trade the breakout here, yeah, you can, and you put your stop, above the opposite. You have a large risk to reward. So I wait for the break, retest the value high or point of control, and then in that direction, and then we take the long. And that's what I talked about here. This was the long that I should have taken, but I did not execute. You would have been here, and you could have targeted either the high or you could have gone up even higher and trailed it. I would have targeted the point of control because that's where the magnet, where price usually tends to go to, and it did, right to the T, and then we rejected, and then bouncing here. And the reason we're bouncing here is we have these aggressive buys right here off the point of control, and we kind of broken it, so we have not yet. We're going to target the value at high, and we'll probably get there in the next, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes. But yeah, that's kind of the breakout play that I'm looking at, and I might just code an algorithm just to trade it that way. You'd use like price action with volume bubbles, and then marking out the volume profile for the first 15 minutes, and then taking that trade. I thought it was just kind of interesting. I still love the way I trade, but this could be a good algorithmic trading where it takes one trade a day, and you could have it run on one account, and then yeah, just have it trade like that. And I think that would be a very good. And then maybe I can give you guys early access to the people that come into the Discord, and yeah, see how it runs. But all in all, great day so far. Um, I guessed it right. My analysis was correct. I was patient and I waited for the opportunity and I waited for to react to the market, then predicting the market. And the problem is a lot of people predict the market, trying to like, oh, it's gonna bounce here, or we're gonna get absorption. I'm gonna take a long here, and they end up getting burned. I've actually been involved in that many times, but I'm getting better at actually reacting to it and seeing this. Like when I waited for this in the morning, yeah, I could have entered right when this absorption happened. I saw it push up. I could have just entered here, and it would have been a good trade, but not always. And I waited for this to close above. So absorption, yeah, we got eaten up right below the low, and then we pushed higher. And I waited for it to come back into this area where buying was present overnight, and they took it even higher. So that's the plays. I'll be right back. I got to use the restroom. Give me 1 sec. Sorry, guys. I was talking on the phone. I apologize. So we're still into this area right here. They're trying to break above this buying that we between here and here. So that's the other area right above the point of control, and then yeah, I think we caught most of the moves. I mean, you probably could catch something from like somewhere right around here to here, which would not be a bad move as well. But at this point, yeah, I really don't think you should be trading this mess that's chopping around all over the place. This was so obvious to sell right here. So, yeah, we're at 1400, 1500 practically. Recovered yesterday. And yeah, we just got to wait and see what happens. But this is the area that I'm talking about where if we push up above here, then we probably could possibly break the high of the day. Almost at 25,100. So, but this is the longs where if you were in the morning, this is where you should have caught it somewhere right around here after you've seen the absorption. So if you'd have missed that move, unfortunately, you could probably scalp a little bit up here into this area, or maybe to the high of the day. I still think there's still some room left to take another long here, but looking at the profile, we are getting over here where value became lower technically, and we did touch the point of control from this previous day, and look where we kind of bounced off, is right where this volume was. So, which makes a lot of sense, right into this volume area here. So value is technically higher. They came down, but value stays above. So we probably are going to move higher. Then we'll probably come up and retest this area next week. And then we could possibly even move higher. We have this huge gap here. And we might get a move next week where we have an expansion move where we break out of value and they find value all the way back up to this point. Because look at this. This is a huge, look at this area. This is a huge area. Most of these areas, they're all getting traded in this area. This is like right here is a super valuable area right here. Right around 26,000. So if we do break this and we come lower, we break these areas, then we're probably going to find value below here, right into these areas, or we'll go even lower. But by looking at it, we'll see how today closes. If value closes higher and it closes somewhere in this value over here, then we're probably looking at a move up next week. So depending how news and everything reacts, but yeah, if you didn't take the longs this morning, unfortunately, it's going to get tougher for you now, and it's probably not worth trading as much through all this because this is chopped right here. And let's just pull the volume profile here. You don't want to be trading this shit. This is just horrible. Value stuck in the middle. Let me do this real quick. Let me just zoom in. Let's see what we're looking at here. So you have buying here technically. So if we break back above here, this is the range right above the point of control. If we can hold this and we break back above, you can probably take this to the high of the day. So, yeah, That's the moves I would probably be anticipating. Probably like a break above value high, and then we push higher. So, and it's funny, value high sits right where the point of control is, and it sits right where that area I marked out over here, where you have a ton of buying. So, from previous. So if you see something like absorption here, like we're seeing, sellers getting absorbed, this wouldn't be a bad area to take it long. You could take something like this at this point. Depending on how this candle closes, you can probably take something right around like here, and then you could put a stop order right underneath there, or you can wait till this closes below the value low to take another long, back up higher, and target all-time highs or all daily highs. So just depending on how this closes, if sellers are winning the battle right now, they're winning it, and sellers are being a little more aggressive, as I would say, above this area. But oops. So now what we look at is we're in a box, we're in a range. So if we break above value above here, then with a strong aggression and CBD climbing in the same direction, then it'll be a good long. I really do think this would be a good long right here, because you are getting some absorption down here. Like we failed here, we've tried, they're still kind of starting to fail. So if this candle closes above, you could take this long on a buy market order as soon as it's closed. Even right here above here, I'll just wait till it closes above here, and you could just put it below the last aggressive sell. You know, it's kind of a big, and you could just target 2 to 1 if you wanted to. It's probably somewhere up where the value, right above the value high. That's something I could see possibly taking. This wouldn't be a bad move. You could just put it right below, right below there if you wanted to. But at this point, I wouldn't trade this because we're stuck in a range. Wait till it breaks out. It starts to find value again, because we're kind of stuck in that point of control where that magnet is, and it could play games here for a little bit. So and one thing I would kind of take a look at is let's just pull a let's move that real quick. Let's just pull a profile to see what it looks like right here, just from here to the highest point. You could even take long somewhere down here. Let me move this because I'm all done with this. Let's turn off price so you can see. I always like to, let's just hide price real quick. Let's hide deep trades. So below where aggression happened, it could technically be here, but this is your other area, which is, oh, that's the one area we had marked out too, which would be this area right here. And I talked about taking it long here, somewhere right around here. I forgot where it was, but let me turn it back on. Let's unhide that. Yeah, your long would have been here where the aggressive, or we could have closed above here. You could have taken a buy order there, because we are closing above and buyers are winning the battle, the auction, I guess you would say. And like I said, my original long would have been here. You could have that, and then you could target a 2 to 1 or buy or high if you want to, even though it wouldn't be that great of a risk reward. You could lessen your risk and say, hey, I'm willing to bet that since we bounced off the POC here, I'll put it below there, and we will target value or high. That wouldn't be a bad trade either. That's something I would possibly take, but in this range, I just don't feel comfortable taking this unless it came down to here. And even then, this is the area where I'd probably take longs. But this is a possible setup. I mean, you have the aggressive buying, and we came back above, and we haven't been able to break. Sellers are getting absorbed every time we come down. Same with buyers. We're stuck in ping pong action. Ping, 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 ping. But we're going to break out to the upside. I'm like 90% sure. they're going to find value. If it's going to get expensive, it's going to get expensive right around here, and then we'll see some sort of rejection off here and maybe go lower. But those are the two possible plays. Tier, you could take along here, or you could take a breakout long, possibly above here, value area. If you wanted a better entry, this is obviously a slightly more riskier entry, but you are in the flow with how the market's moving, and I think this would be a fantastic trade. 2 to 1, or you could even trail it, and it could go all the way up to high of the day right here. That would take a little longer, but you could probably get it in the next 30 minutes. It'll probably hit this, maybe less, maybe 10. So a couple different plays you can do, just depending how much you want to risk. And yeah, we break back above this area right here where buying failed. When we squeeze the highs here, where buyers try to push again, you're going to get a nice move up into this value high pretty quickly. So yeah, I might call it here. I'm already done for the day. I don't really want to trade anymore. This is not a great day to keep trading. I caught the morning move. Call it a great day, and come back Monday. Take the weekend off and refresh. Do some studying. Do some back testing. I want to do some more back testing on the orb strategy that I kind of came up with. It's very simple in terms of how you play it out, and yeah, it's not that you can have literally. I'm going to create an algorithm where it takes one trade a day off that box that I showed you in the beginning. The off the orb, and then the algorithm would just take one trade a day. You would have taken this long. Let me turn this off. So we failed here again with buyers. If this doesn't push above here, then most likely it does. It breaks here. We get a squeeze above. But that algorithm I'll create will probably be in the next month or so, and then maybe I'll hand it to my Discord for trial, and they could run it on platforms, whatever you wanted to run it on. Obviously, I wouldn't be held accountable for any sort of risk, but I think it'll work out really well, especially in these markets. Is we get the break above the high, like you see. So we get that break above the high, and then of the 15-minute orb box, whatever, get the break above the high right here. It closes, and our automatic bias is long. Then you wait for it to test either the point of control or the value area high. And between this area, this would be your sweet spot zone. This would be your area right here. And then you'd wait for either selling bubbles to get absorbed, which we saw here, or you need also price action to close above. So you need a green candle and then another price action candle. So you could have closed, like I said, this was the move that I was talking about that would have been risk below where absorption happened. And then you would take your long either to high, or at this point, I would take it to POC. So this is kind of the area that the algorithm would play off of, and it would take one trade a day. This works. I've back tested it probably for the last like 3-4 weeks. It works very well. Obviously, the markets have been kind of moving and ranging, but I think this is a great trade setup that algorithm can pick up every morning. You just marks up the profile for the first 15 minutes. You trade it off. If it breaks the high, you trade it off of the 15-minute orb. You trade it off the value area high. It would be a bounce and retest play. Same thing for the bottom, bounce and retest. It worked out beautifully yesterday. It worked out today. It worked out there was probably a handful of trades where it worked out. So either value high or point of control, because this is where the 15 minutes where most orders were traded, and this becomes expensive. But once we broke it, we've broken value, and we come back and retest, and then we go higher. I took a trade down here even better, but this was a fantastic setup. I saw it playing out, and it works very well. You could wait for your buying bubbles and it to close above there. So let's say this buying bubble right here, you can wait till it closes even above this and say, okay, I'll take a long here at this point. So I think this is going to be a good algorithm to play, and we have the capabilities to do it on Sierra charts because they do have automated trading platform where you can. We've done different algorithms, so yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna call it a day. I have had quite a long day. I was up late and then I woke up early, so I'm pretty tired. Maybe take a quick nap, and I don't know. Maybe I might be on for like a power hour session, or maybe like a few 11 to 12 or 10 to 12 session. But we will see. Um, Hopefully, you guys trade well, trade smart, manage your risk, and I will catch you guys